I'm Linda Jasper, Director of Youth Dance England.
I'm Maggie Morris. I am a consultant with Trinity College London and I lead on their dance qualifications.
Right, we're doing a double act, if you haven't already gathered that, but without Graham Devlin. So, right, okay, I'm just here to give you a bit of background and then it's over to Maggie to give you the detail of the qualification. So this is what it's called, and it is one of those moments in dance where it's actually accredited, hurrah. You've actually got it in your packs, which is remarkable, and we've known that for 2 weeks, so we're delirious. So, and it's been, yes, I think. Okay, so here we go. So basically, what I wanted to pick up on was what Chris Denton said right at the beginning of the day, and that is why DTAP got together in the first place. And that was through Laban driving an agenda which said we all recognised we had a problem with particularly the workforce in dance for children and young people. That, you know, children and young people are minors in law, that employers are very concerned about making sure of their safety and well-being, and that employers were very much saying to me, as the very new director of Youth Dance England just in 2004, actually saying, you know, how on earth do we actually make any appointments on the basis of CVs, etc., and actually have any understanding of what qualifies and actually recognises a good dance teacher for children and young people. And that's where we started. And from that, obviously, we got Suzanne in to actually do a research report. From that, she identified a number of strands, which we've obviously going through today, that actually contribute to the whole issue of workforce development in dance. Anyway, the working groups have been set up, and we've actually got 3, in which Chris, you know, following those work strands, and the one that I've been particularly involved with a number of other people from the DTAC group, has been around the qualification. So, what we did was, having identified that through Suzanne's report, we actually put out a tender for a commission for a qualifications body to actually come forward and to actually interview and to apply for this role. Trinity College London were appointed by the working group of DTAP back in January 2009. And from there until now, we've been working with the sector in different ways to get together what we hope is very much a sector-led qualification and fit for purpose. So Suzanne has been involved throughout, in fact, because Trinity College London then invited her back to actually write the qualification with the working group. What we did through autumn of last year was we tested out that qualification with different organisations and an individual who gets the gold star, is Jo Rhodes, who actually took it on her own without any intervention. And you'll see why in a minute when Maggie actually talks about the routes that you can go through to get the award. So those were the organisations, and many of whom are with us today, and they tested different parts of the qualification, and from their feedback, that feedback was absolutely crucial in actually shaping what eventually went in for accreditation. And we cannot kind of overestimate how important their work was at that stage.
Yes, one of the things that's been really important for us is that the input from DTAP and from the sector. We wouldn't be able to develop this qualification. Trinity wouldn't have had an interest to develop this qualification on its own, nor the expertise. And I think that incredibly valuable input from the whole of the sector, but specifically too from Suzanne Burns, who I have to thank enormously for writing the qualification itself. It wouldn't be what it is without her. One of the things, through these discussions that we had, there are several things that came up. One of the things was clarifying the difference between what training is and what a qualification is. We sat around the DTAP group trying to figure out what it was going to be. We talked about something, as you've talked about today, that was developed for CPD. You know, should it be 10 units, you know, little units that people could take over a long period of time? Should it be a validated course? So Trinity would go in and validate organisations to provide a course. They would do most of the assessment. We would do a little bit of assessment. And then candidates could come and take that. Or should it be, we talked about a 2-unit qualification. We talked around all of these things. And what we came up with in the end was something in between. But what we felt was really important, and the confusion kept coming up, is the difference between what Trinity does and what course providers do. Trinity provides no training at all. We do not train our teachers who teach our qualifications. We don't train anyone except for our assessors. Those are the only people we work with trained to be assessors. We standardise them annually. And that is key. So what we're looking at is a qualification, which is, as Suzanne wrote it actually, the attainment of an award by an individual through assessment that qualifies that person to do something. We totally assess that person individually. If anyone wants to provide courses towards that assessment, that is entirely up to them, and that's entirely valid. So that's a key thing that we kept on discussing, and we felt it was important to clarify today. Who's it for? Key. It is for a range. We tried again. The flexibility of the qualification is really important. It has been, in the pilot, implemented in the 3rd year of some degree programs. They can't actually, you'll get the qualifications in your pack, and we'll talk a bit more about exactly what it is later. They are looking at the first 2 units so that they embed that in the 3rd year of a degree program. It could be for an independent practitioner who just wants, who's been doing it for 20 years, who wants some evidence of the knowledge that they have to provide to employers, to parents, whatever. They can just apply straight to Trinity College London and submit their materials. They don't have to do any training at all if they don't want to. And some of the work that we did with the pilot groups was with dance agencies and organisations who might provide some support for those professional practitioners. As we know, when we've been out of education for a while, sitting down and writing an essay or doing an assignment or presenting something to DVD as an assessment can be quite daunting. So there are organisations who are beginning to set up some support networks for those practitioners who are professional practitioners and who don't feel that they need to go back into training but just want to be assessed and get the qualification. So there's a whole range of different routes in which people can do this. The qualification, what we're talking about really is level 6. This again was a long discussion. Should it be for entry? Should it be for those key initial standards? Should it be level 4, level 5? For those of you who are not, as I have become, clear on what those level 6 means, level 6 is equivalent to the end of a BA degree program. It's a vocational qualification. It is not the same as a BA degree program, but it has a vocational equivalence. So that's where it sits, HE3 kind of. It's got a credit value of 90, which is very new. All qualifications in the UK are now going onto the credit framework, and it will soon be the European credit framework, which is great, which means it can be relevant across Europe. I believe this was one of the first qualifications to go in through the credit framework, so we really hit it there, which was very helpful.